People join Costco to save money, and then they walk out spending $300, sometimes $400, sometimes more, on things they didn't even plan to buy. That's the paradox. You pay a fee to become more disciplined and somehow end up spending more, not less. And it's not because people are bad at math. It's because Costco quietly rewires how you think about spending the moment you become a member. Think about how most Americans shop. You run into a grocery store after work. You grab a few things you need for the week. Milk, eggs, bread, maybe some snacks. You're in and out in 20 minutes. Your mindset is simple. Don't spend more than you have to. You're comparing prices. You're watching totals. You're trying to stay under control. Now compare that to a typical Costco trip. You don't just stop by. You plan it. You drive farther. You bring a bigger cart. You expect to spend more time there. And before you even grab your first item, something has already changed. You've paid to be there. That's where everything starts. Because paying a membership fee doesn't just give you access, it changes your mental framework. Economists call this the sunk cost effect, but you don't need the term to recognize the feeling. It's the same reason you finish a movie you're not enjoying because you already paid for the ticket, or why you keep going to a gym you barely use because you signed up for a yearly plan. Once you've paid Costco that $60 or $120 membership fee, your brain starts doing something subtle. It wants to justify that decision. You don't think I already paid, so I should spend less. You think, I already paid, so I need to make it worth it. That's a completely different mindset, and it flips your behavior. Now every Costco trip carries a quiet pressure to extract value, to get your money's worth, to win the membership. And the easiest way to feel like you're winning is to buy more. This is where the system starts to compound, because Costco doesn't just rely on that initial shift, it reinforces it at every step of the experience. Start with how value is framed. At a normal grocery store, you're comparing prices per item. At Costco, you're comparing prices per unit. A 24-pack of sparkling water feels like a better deal than buying single cans. A massive bag of rice feels efficient. A giant jar of peanut butter feels like you're stocking up smartly. Even if you spend more up front, it feels like you're saving in the long run. And that's the key. Costco shifts your focus from total spend to perceived value. So instead of asking, did I spend too much? You're asking, did I get a good deal? Those are not the same question, and that shift matters, because when you're focused on value, higher spending becomes easier to justify. Now layer in bulk buying. When you buy in bulk, you naturally spend more per trip. That's built into the model. But it doesn't feel like overspending. It feels like efficiency, like planning ahead, like being responsible. You tell yourself, I won't need to buy this again for weeks. I'm saving money over time. This is smarter than buying small quantities. And those statements aren't wrong, but they also give you permission to increase your basket size. So now you have two forces working together, the sunk cost effect pushing you to justify the membership, and bulk logic making larger purchases feel rational. But Costco doesn't stop there. There's also identity. Shopping at Costco feels different. You're not just a customer, you're a member. That word matters more than it seems, because it signals belonging. And in the US, where people care about making smart financial choices, Costco has positioned itself as the place where savvy shoppers go. So when you shop there, you're not just buying products, you're reinforcing an identity. You're the kind of person who buys in bulk, who finds better deals, who shops smarter than average. And once that identity forms, your behavior starts to align with it. You don't want to feel like you're wasting your membership. You don't want to feel like you're missing out. You want to feel like you're using it well. So you lean into it. You buy more. You explore more. You justify more. Now add another layer. Deal urgency. Costco doesn't make everything permanent. Items rotate. Seasonal products come and go. Limited time deals appear and disappear. That creates a subtle pressure. If I don't buy this now, it might not be here next time. That urgency interacts with everything else. You've already paid to be there. You want to maximize value. You're identifying as a smart shopper. So when you see a deal, you act, even if it wasn't on your list. And that's how a planned $150 trip turns into $300, because each decision feels justified in isolation. Now zoom out. None of these behaviors are extreme on their own. Buying in bulk makes sense. Looking for deals makes sense. Using your membership makes sense. But when you stack them together, they amplify each other. The membership creates commitment. The commitment creates justification. The justification increases spending. The spending reinforces the feeling of value. And that loop keeps going. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Costco doesn't just benefit from you spending more. It benefits from how you feel about that spending. Because unlike typical retail where overspending can lead to regret, Costco spending often feels like a win. You walk out with a full cart. You've spent a few $100s, but instead of guilt, you feel satisfied. Like you made smart choices, like you beat the system, like you got more for your money. That emotional payoff is critical because it reinforces the behavior. You're more likely to come back, more likely to renew, more likely to repeat the cycle, and that's exactly what happens. Costco's renewal rates in the US and Canada are around 90%. That's not just about price, that's about perception. People don't just think Costco is cheap. They think Costco helps them win financially, even if they're spending more per trip. And this is where the tension comes in. Because the original intention was to save money. You join Costco thinking, I'll be more disciplined, I'll cut down on unnecessary spending, I'll get better deals. But at the same time, you're increasing your total spend. You're buying more per visit. You're stocking up on items you might not have bought otherwise. You're responding to deals you didn't plan for. So are you actually saving or just spending differently? The answer is both. Costco is incredibly efficient at delivering value. Per unit, many of its products are cheaper. Quality is often high. The pricing is consistent. But the structure of the experience encourages volume, and volume increases total spending. So while you may be saving money on each item, you're often buying more items, which increases your overall outflow. And because it feels justified, you don't push back. That's the subtle brilliance of the model. Costco doesn't force you to spend more. It creates the conditions where spending more feels like the rational choice. And that's a very different kind of influence. Now step back and look at the system as a whole. Costco charges you up front. That creates commitment. It frames value around bulk and efficiency. That changes how you evaluate purchases. It limits selection and rotates inventory. That creates urgency and discovery. It builds a brand around smart shopping. That shapes your identity. And all of that feeds into one outcome. You spend more while feeling like you're saving. That's the payoff. Costco isn't just monetizing transactions. It's monetizing psychology. Your desire to justify decisions, your need to feel smart, your tendency to anchor on value instead of total cost, your instinct to avoid wasting what you've already paid for. And once those forces are aligned, the system runs itself. You keep coming back, you keep spending, you keep renewing, not because you're being tricked, but because the experience feels right, because it aligns with how people naturally think and behave. And that's what makes it so effective. So the next time you walk into Costco and your cart starts filling up faster than you expected, just remember, you didn't come in just to shop. You came in to prove something, that your membership was worth it. And once that idea is in your head, spending more starts to feel like the smartest move you can make.